Two. Nice to meet you. How many have had metastatic breast cancer? Who's had it more than once? I have.
Amen.
Wow.
God bless.
I would like to start off by reading part of an article that I found. It says, although breast cancer in young women is rare, more than 250,000 women living in the United States today were diagnosed with it under age 40. In young women, breast cancer tends to be diagnosed in its latter stages and be more aggressive. Young women also have a higher mortality rate and higher risk of metastatic breast cancer, meaning the breast cancer in areas beyond the breast. One statistic that really stands out is that there is no effective breast cancer screening tool yet for women under the age of 40, most of whom have dense breast tissue that prevents routine mammograms from being a useful screening tool. I am a witness. I can testify that I'm an exception to this rule.
All right.
In February 2012, I was 34 years old. I was married. I had two boys who were 6 and 18 months at the time. I had a career at Chevron. I had graduated from college. I had a home. And I also had a trucking company that I was running with my husband. In February of 2012, I had a conversation with my best friend one night. And she was telling me about her co-workers who were being diagnosed with various forms of cancer. And it really affected me because I was like, what's going on? Why are so many people being affected by this disease? It affected me to the point to the next morning I woke up and I was sitting up in my bed and I began to do a self-check of myself. And I checked my left side and my hand went straight to it. There was some discoloration, there was some soreness, and I felt the tumor in my left breast. I checked my right side, I didn't feel anything, and I was like, okay, that doesn't feel right. So I looked and saw what time it was, and I was like, oh, we're going to be late because my 6-year-old at the time had karate class. As you know, I had a history teacher who used to tell me all the time, the world don't stop. The world did not stop that morning that I found that tumor in my breast. So I got up, got dressed, got my children dressed, took my son to karate class, and that Monday morning I called the doctor's office. I went in a couple of days later, they confirmed that there was something there. A few days later, I went to Tops Breast Center in Kingwood, Texas, and that was in March of 2012. I had my very first mammogram, ultrasound, and I had a biopsy later that month. During the first week of April of 2012, I received that phone call that no one wants. And I was told that I had breast cancer. I was at home alone. I broke down crying on the phone. And they were like, Ms. Jordan, do you have someone that can bring you in? And I said, yes. So I went to my appointment. They gave me the information. At the time, I had an HMO insurance. So they told me I had to find a primary care physician. I didn't have one because I was someone who was rarely sick, other than a common cold, which we treat with over-the-counter medicine. And I had to find a primary care physician so that he could write me a referral to go see an oncologist. I got the referral. I went to see the oncologist. My mom went with me to get this horrible news. And as I sat there,
Yes, Lord.
I heard breast cancer. I heard something about stage 1, next to a milk duct. And I was just like, what is going on with my life?
Yes.
I'm 34. We were told that I didn't have to worry about this until after age 40. So why am I having to go through this now? After we walked out of the doctor's office into the hallway, they tell me, we want you here tomorrow for chemo. That was not on my to-do list. I have to go to work tomorrow. I have 2 children that have to go to school. I have a business to run. So a nurse came and said, well, we need to verify her insurance first. So the oncologist said, okay, we want you in here by the end of the week. I said, okay, here we go. When I stepped out of the office, again, I was with my mother, I broke down crying. Because I just didn't understand why was my body attacking myself.
But God.
But I had to realize that I had a family, I had children, and I had to fight this disease. So I did everything the doctors told me to do. 2 weeks after I found out I had breast cancer, I turned 35. I began my chemo treatments. Later that summer, I had what's called a lumpectomy, where they removed the tumor. They found cancer cells around the tissue surrounding the tumor. I ended up having a double mastectomy December of 2012. From December to April, I went through preparation with my plastic surgeon to have reconstructive surgery. I had the reconstructive surgery in April of 2013. Once that surgery was completed, I said, okay, I'm in remission. Thank God. I did everything that they told me to do. I'm good. Time for me to move on and live my life. So, raised my children, went back to work, running our business, which was doing well. In March of 2014, we moved into our brand new home. In June of 2014, I started to feel a pain in my right hip. And I thought, okay, it must be from either moving or I moved the wrong direction, I pulled a muscle or a tendon or something. Never in a million years would I have thought that it was cancer. My God. June of 2014, they scheduled me for a PET scan, which is where they lay you down, slide you through a machine, and test you from head to your knees to make sure there are no cancer cells within your body. I went for my follow-up with my doctor, and she was going through the report, and she was like, okay, everything looks good. Everything looks good. And she's flipping through the papers, and she says, wait. That's when I looked at her, and I said, what? She says, have you been having a pain in your right hip? I said, yes. But I thought I just pulled something. She said, no, it's in you. They're saying there's an abnormality with your bone. I said, okay. She said, well, because of your history, we have to send you for a bone biopsy. For those who don't know what a bone biopsy is, that's where they put a needle in your bone and remove some bone marrow. And so they sent that bone marrow to a lab, and what they found was that the same breast cancer cells that they found in my left breast had transported to my right hip and metastasized. So now I have been diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer of the bone. I immediately started radiation every day, Monday through Friday, during the month of September. After radiation, I was told because the only way the cancer could have metastasized inside of the bone is through your blood. So the oncologist suggested that I have chemo once again. Okay, I was like, okay, God, here we go. But this time, my faith was tested. Because I was like, God, I did everything that I was supposed to do the first time around. Why am I having to go through this again? I'm 37. It's only been 2 years since the first time I was diagnosed with cancer. I'm taking my medication. I'm taking my shots every month. Why am I having this disease attack my body once again? I fell into a depression because I wondered, okay, so where else is it going to go? To my brain, my intestines, my lungs? What happens when I do everything the doctors tell me this time? Is it going to come back again somewhere where it can't be treated? And it took me a couple of months, but I finally had to realize there are 2 people on this earth that need me. And I also had to realize who my God was. Yes. And that He is capable of...
Come on. Come on, Tyesha.
So I told